Haason Reddick, defensive end of the New York Jets, has requested a trade from the team after he asked for a contract extension and hadn't received one from the organization. Because of this stall and waiting for this contract negotiation, he skipped mandatory minicamp and he skipped training camp after joining the team in March through a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, with all that said, when the trade took place, it was reported that the Jets were under the understanding that Reddick was willing to play out his final year of his contract and then look for a contract extension after the season. On one hand, if you're Reddick, it makes sense to look for a new contract right now. You have a couple years of productivity and you're entering an age 30 season. And once you hit 30, unless you're a quarterback, there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of what will you get paid next year if you have another productive year, and also how productive can you be this year. But all in all, I don't want to point fingers at whose problem it is or whose fault it was. But if the trade took place and you communicated with the team that you're more than okay with playing out this final year of this contract and then looking for an extension afterwards, that's a bit of a predicament. You can't blame the Jets in that situation. And then obviously right now, if you're Reddick, you can't blame him just because he doesn't know what the future has in store for him. So from both vantage points, you can't say it's a Jets problem. You can't say it's Reddick's problem. They're both on understandable grounds. The one thing I want to talk about, though, is what do the Jets do and how they should approach this. Joe Douglas just came out through a tweet from the New York Jets in a statement saying that under the CBA, Reddick has to play. We're going to stay firm in our stance on this, essentially saying we're not going to sign you to an extension and play out this final year. If they wanted to spend some money, they would have paid it for Bryce Huff, who was 4 years younger, was on the team last year. Instead of letting him walk, they wanted Reddick because he was on a 1-year deal. But all in all, in my opinion, if you're the New York Jets, you want to play hardball. And in most scenarios, you should play hardball. You should stay firm, you should stay pat. The front office, the organization should express that. At the end of the day, we have control of who gets paid at what point in time. But in this situation, I think you have to sign Reddick and you have to give him a contract extension. Find a middle ground with him to get him to play. Because the way the Jets are situated, we all know the story, right? They're in a position where they have to go out there and win now. Why? Well, they have Aaron Rodgers. He has 1, maybe 2 years left in his career, and you need to do everything you can to help maximize this team. On top of that, if Rodgers were to leave, this team isn't just a quarterback away. Their offensive line's a little bit older, right? They have some key players, but Tyron Smith, for example, Morgan Moses are a little bit older. So there's still uncertainty in terms of you go 2 years down the road, what happens to this team? How are they set up? And I think in order to be a productive team, you need a lot of defensive line productivity off the edges, right? And they have some solid edge rushers. I like Jermaine Johnson. Obviously, Quinn Williams takes up a lot of space and can really have a lot of big effect on pass rush and on rush defense. But I think having Haason Reddick just adds that extra element of bringing speed off the edge. And in order to maximize this 1 year, maybe 2 years of championship contention, you have to bring in and have as much talent as you possibly can. I say the same thing about the Ayuk situation with the 49ers. Maybe you don't want to pay him $30 million because I don't think he's necessarily worth $30 million per year. But in order to maximize your championship window, you have to have all the talent you possibly can on your roster. So that's why they should sign Ayuk, just like that's why they should come to a contract agreement with Reddick and say, you know what, we don't like it. We don't necessarily want to move off your stance, but you need productivity off the edge and as much talent as you possibly can, especially in a loaded AFC, in order to compete and try and get that ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. So if you're the Jets, obviously a situation you don't want to be in, but I think at the end of the day, the situation the team's based out of and their contention window, it says that you need to pay Reddick, and that's what they ultimately should. Thank you guys for listening. Please let me know your thoughts. What should the Jets do? And please subscribe. Thank you guys.